Hey everybody, this is Trekked. We're going to talk about some urban exploration that we did. We got some footage here on the screen for you to watch, and we're just going to talk about the place that we traveled to. I'm Trevor.
And I'm Nate, and mainly Long Island on this Trekked episode.
Yep, and we have a friend here.
And my name's Penis.
And his name is Zach. And he wasn't there with us, but he's just going to help guide us along.
I'll watch the video with you and see what happens.
I'm going to crack open a beer.
It's almost like a live audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am a live audience because I was not there, but I'm viewing the video as you view it.
Yes.
Audience.
Yes. Anyway, so it's a cool place. A lot of you might have been there already if you're experienced urban explorers, or if you're just from the Long Island area. I'm sure you've heard about this place. It's like a huge complex. What, like the dude said, like 900 acres or so?
Approximately 900 acres, a little bit less. I believe the state sold a little bit, but pretty well known in the urban exploring.
So it was like established in what does it say here? 1885?
1885.
Was that the whole entire park?
I think that was a couple of the buildings on the complex
There's actually,
itself.
yeah, there's like a list of buildings here. There's like a lot. There's like
Over 100 buildings. I think there's actually 150. There's quite a few.
Well, it had like building number 150 or whatever, but
Plenty of small ones, you know. But the fact is that they had their own fire department, police department.
Regardless, it's like a ghost town. Let's talk about why were we there? Why were we there?
Well, it all started with a private investigation case, which Nate is a private investigator, so it comes into play.
No. Yeah,
but it happened to be in the area, you know, quite a distance from home. But we look for it on the internet. What do you know? We find Kings Park Psychiatric Center, 111 years in operation, abandoned.
Yep.
Saw multiple different groups at this location.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
And the thing is, when we went there, we didn't know anything about it. We didn't see any videos. We just knew that it existed. So we were just like, you know, going into this fresh eyes. We didn't know anything about it, and it just looked like a state park. You know how they always are very desolate. Like, it was really foggy out and like cloudy and rainy. And
you couldn't beat the conditions, honestly. Walking up to it, it really is an urban explorer's dream. We park, and as we approach the building, you know, we're looking at 15 stories approximately of Building 93, which is the one you're looking at now.
Yeah.
And we can't even see the top 3 levels.
Oh, there's Nate. There he is. This is when we got scared because we heard someone else. It was the first time we heard someone else in the building. Yeah.
Which is definitely this is actually one of the first encounters we've had with somebody else, you know, urban exploring. So it was a little bit awkward.
The only other time I can remember that we even remotely encountered somebody else was when we saw that flashlight.
Yep.
And the psych ward the other time, but that was totally a different story. But yeah, it was super easy to get into because obviously people come here all the time. You could tell. Look at all the graffiti. Like, people come here all the fucking time, you know.
In fact, as we were walking up to the building, we actually saw a couple, just a dude and a chick, probably 20 years old or so, walking from the building. So we already had an idea, you know, it's pretty easily accessible.
Yeah. They just like got into their car, and that was actually as another car pulled in, and then like 4 dudes came out of that car. Yeah.
Definitely explored on a daily basis, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
By multiple parties.
But yeah, this was a cool shot. I actually like this, like just walking down, because you said these were like the dorm rooms?
It's sure as hell seemed like it, because each of these doorways, as we passed them, had about 6 bedrooms on either side, or 6 beds, let alone. So there's quite a few. I mean, what else could it possibly be? You know?
I mean, my first thought was like hospital beds. Like, this could be like a place where they like operate on people, or like just crazy people went to sleep. But like, I don't know. After you said dorm rooms, I was like, yeah, this looks more like just a casual place, because like they would have like restraints and shit, and like everything would be all like walled off and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely seems like a dorm place, because every story has these.
We could cut over to more of our intel on Building 93, because I think it actually specified what they used it for.
Yeah.
If you want to get a little more info on that.
Yeah. While I'm pulling this up, you got anything else to say about this room? You took a bunch of pictures, right?
I could say one thing is I got some weird vibes in here. I mean, you know, I'm not crazy about the whole believing in the you find on the 93 there.
So according to Wikipedia, this building was used as for patient housing, but it might not be these rooms in particular.
Right. Well, this is basically what we found on each level. I mean, they were basically carbon copies from level 1. Well, level 1 was different, and then every other level up to the top was basically what you're looking at now. A couple of hallways, couple of lavatories, and beds.
Yeah. And you'll see eventually with this shot that there's like a drawer full of like cards, like playing cards, and like that's probably added from some kid who came here later on, though. You know, like I don't know. It doesn't seem like they were that old, but I failed to get a shot right there. See, I'm all shaky and shit. Whatever. I'll let it slide. I can
way too much graffiti. It's.
I know, dude. That's like one of the worst things about these places.
It really is.
Because the graffiti itself, like it could be vulgar, whatever, but it actually like the chemicals like deteriorate the structure of it. They really do. And like also, if you think about it, like all the fumes and shit that's already in that place, it's just making it worse and worse for everybody. But
and there's a big difference between art and graffiti. I mean, you can see some very nice pieces, respectable pieces, but what
look, there's bottom left corner, there's a pile of poop. There's a pile of poop in there. There's nothing special about that at all. But I mean, hey, if you're the person who did that or you do that all the time, I don't endorse it.
In their defense, it was a nice pile of poop.
That was a well-drawn poop.
Plenty of these. These freaked me out a bit. Just seeing like the rusty wheels, like left in the middle. It's almost like they just got up and left in this place.
Could imagine.
Very eerie.
Seriously, like, do you remember the basement when we finally went down there? It was just full of those and like socks on the ground.
In the basement.
That was dirty.
Oh,
it was either the basement. Well, it was weird because like the first floor was also slightly underground in the front of the building, but in the back it was ground level. It was weird. But a lot of the light that bled in was like this nice green, like see how the windows are nice green? Yeah. You'll see later on that it's just a lot of that. And
they all float.
I fucking
love that.
Pennywise. Yeah. A little bit of Pennywise. Oh man.
Yeah, the lighting in 90% of the place was optimal. There were some parts that are a bit too dark, but for the most part, that nice neutral green light just shedding on through.
Yeah. This was right when we got into the building. I drifted off alone. You were setting up some like photos, and like I was actually scared like by myself. But then for the rest of the trip, I didn't feel scared for some reason. We both agreed that like for some reason we weren't scared there.
Yeah, I feel pretty secure, especially after encountering a couple other groups.
Right.
It definitely made me feel pretty experienced, especially seeing how they were. I mean, this is an asbestos-filled building, and these guys walked in just chilling. I mean, they looked like they're out, walking the dog kind of thing. They look nothing different than we did, besides the fact that we have respirators, we have our equipment.
Yeah, they didn't look very like prepared, but like that one guy, the tall guy, the first person we encountered, he said he has been there before, and like he said like, oh, we're trying to get onto the roof, and he says, oh, there's usually stuff packed up right here, but the cops come in and take it down. But I think we'll probably show a shot later. I'll remember when that's actually comes time for that. I don't know if I included. If I didn't, I'll put it in later, like when I'm just listening to the audio. When you were climbing that ladder, those two ladders, that was sketchy.
A tall ladder. It's probably one of the tallest, if not the tallest ladder I've ever gone up before.
Yeah, it was kind of like two ladders, and it was at the very top floor. It's at the very top floor. What do you think the machinery was used for?
It looked like some kind of ductwork to me. Some kind of heating and probably not even cooling, just a heating system, honestly.
Huh.
But it's hard to say. I mean, it was definitely hollow. I mean, it's aluminum, whatever it was, but
I love that. This room was so great.
Kate's freaked me out.
The nice green, the green leaves back there, like with light coming through. That's just so cool. I love that.
How high up?
I think this was like the first floor. Yeah.
We were definitely within ground level. I mean, floor 1 or 2 here.
Let's talk about the top floor, like where the ladder was that you climbed. Like we made it all the way up there because a lot of these floors are like the same.
That was a funny location too, because we're actually on the west side of the west side of the building, and that's when we encountered our first group of people.
Yeah.
Asked them how did you have you gotten to the roof before? They had no idea. So we just started exploring. We actually find the elevators, keep on continuing down that corridor, and lo and behold, we find the ladder, which led to nothing. But we still got out onto the roof at that one point. It seemed like there were some kind of gutters. They were like halfway down the building, but regardless, we did get 13 stories up in the air.
Yeah,
got to see the ground.
Those like little walkways that we entered, like outside, the things that were like the highest point that you can walk on without it being too slanted to fall off, whatever. What do you think those were for? I think those might have been like little flower patches.
They almost seemed like it. Almost like they reminded me of hanging gardens.
Yeah.
They were just like these sections on the building that really had no purpose, it seemed like, except for drainage. But why would they even build them? So and my best guess is they planted in them.
We have some good pictures of me sitting on the edge there. I'll put them up right here. That was scary. That was some scary stuff.
I'm not afraid of heights by any means, but that watching you sit on the edge had my blood curdling up a little bit.
I was horrified. Because, embarrassingly, I got off the ledge that I put the picture up of, and I sat on the ledge that's like just lower, just a little bit lower. I put both my feet over the edge of it, so like my feet were dangling, 13 stories or whatever. And as I was trying to turn back around to stand on the actual platform, I got so scared that I had to have Nate fucking grab my arm and pull me aside. I was just so scared. I was so scared.
All I could think was, if anything, just fall backwards. It'll hurt to fall 3 feet, but it's a lot better than 130 feet.
That would have been my last resort. But, yeah.
130 feet would be your last resort?
No, the 1 foot.
Okay.
Because I felt like I couldn't do it.
Sure.
I just needed a little. I needed something to embrace. Yeah.
As long as you're an expert base jumper, you could probably make it.
Never even.
You got your wingsuit on, dude?
Yeah, right. I can just pull my shirt up as a parachute.
Mythbusters did that. Didn't work.
It didn't work?
Didn't work.
Didn't work. I would never even try. Why would they even think that would work?
I don't know.
This makes a good episode,
I think they used the dummy at least.
One of the what are they? Ballistics?
Buster.
Oh,
Buster the ballistics dummy.
Anyway, so like that was pretty much the last thing we did in that building, the building 93.
That was, I think, the best though. It was the first, and it was probably the best, just because it had a lot of floors to go through.
Yeah.
Had a lot of equipment in the basement that we didn't even encounter until the end. Which was just
remember
great.
this bed? I was like, you were like, what would be a good title for a picture here? I was like, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. That was
perfect. I love that caption.
Yeah. I love how this camera shoots. It's so like the natural lighting in this place just really just made it so much better than we've ever shot before. Like any of the other places that we've gone, like
was it like this in every room? Like so much graffiti in every room.
Every room that was like really accessible. Some of them like blocked by like garbage and doors and stuff, but
every room was just graffiti.
Yeah, for 13 stories, and we skipped a bunch of stories.
Yeah, but I'm sure it was
all
like
the
that every
sections.
story.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Just like we did at the Terrence Tower.
Yeah.
But anyway, when we were done on the roof and we headed back down to this building, we were looking for these tunnels that are supposed to connect all of the buildings in this entire complex. Like, people say it's like a labyrinth, honeycomb, things like that. They use words like that to describe how the tunnel system works, and we didn't find those until we went to the second building. I don't remember which building it was.
I forgot which building number it was, but it was pretty interesting, especially because we talked to a group that actually said, they don't go into the tunnel, so it already made it a little bit mystifying almost. Hearing it referred to as a labyrinth, a honeycomb, and then hearing this other group that's been here before saying they don't dare enter them. So it was a little bit, put a little mystery into it. But we go into the second building. It took us a while to even find those because we explored up, then we went down.
Well, the second building technically that we went into was that big warehouse building.
Oh, correct.
With but there was nothing special in there. We kind of climbed into the basement where it had like a 5
like a crawl
foot.
Space.
It was like 5'8" crawl space. So we both had to hunch over a little bit, and there's really nothing down there.
Dirt.
Just dirt.
It was a little bit freaky because all I could think of was like a horror movie.
Chupacabras. Chupacabra.
I got shot a lot.
Oh yeah, it was alright. I think that was the building that we went into. Was it the second building?
That's the
third building.
That's third building. Yes.
That was the one though, with like the bell tower.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah, the mist is great, isn't it? Like the fog.
Fantastic.
This is when we actually saw the first people through the window, and we started pig squealing at them, trying to scare them.
Yep. I love this graffiti that pops up in a second.
Yeah.
I hate vandalism and love irony. It's one of my favorites.
What a jerk. What a jerk. But yeah, I love it. It was the perfect weather condition for photography. It was just so like dark and gloomy and just enough light though, because it was kind of during the day. This was like what time is this? This was like 6 something.
We got there just before 6, if I remember right.
Yeah. On our way to that third building that we actually went into, the third building that we went to, we walked this parking lot. Remember, I was like, this is a perfect spot to film a skate video.
It really was too, with the nice rural buildings in the background, nice open parking lot. It's perfect.
It had a huge, one of the buildings to our right had a huge hole blown out. It looked like an explosion happened.
Which I know if we didn't get a shot of it, we'll throw a picture up here too.
Did you take pictures?
I know I have a photograph of that one.
Yeah, I'll put a picture up. But then let's talk about when we got to that third building. Like as we're walking up to it, that's when we noticed a bar. And we thought the bar was run down because it was like this really, really cruddy looking sign.
Good old Shanahan's. That was...
Yeah.
It looked run down to me, but then I remember we read the actual board and it said...
June 13th.
June 13th. Yeah. So we knew it had to have been somewhat recent, but I mean, that's a story for later. Once we actually got there.
Oh, we'll get back to it because that was like my favorite part of this entire story.
Great end to the entire.
The entire trip ended so perfectly, but we got to the third building and immediately Nate and I were
driveway?
Just. It was long and it was like
long
winding,
and curvy.
Yeah,
it was just winding. It winded right. We actually ended up at the back entrance originally.
Right.
Because we found like a loading dock. And we were a little bit confused at first, but then we realized, we're in the back of it.
Totally boarded up and like. Because that's like the common entrance, that's like the people get to be like, oh man, let's sneak into this building, and then they see that shit and they leave. They don't think they keep walking around. So we walked around the back, and it looked like a big university almost, like had like the bell tower in front of you, and then it was kind of like U-shaped surrounding you. But
had like a courtyard in the middle kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very overgrown, of course, because these were abandoned back in I think the late 90s.
Yeah, and I'm sure we have you have the panorama picture.
Yeah. We'll definitely throw it up there.
I'll put that up there, and we came around the back and we found a nice perfect little entrance, which I know you also have a picture of. This perfect little entrance right here, and we climbed up and we just found our way inside. And it was at the time my video camera actually was out of battery, so all this footage that you're watching right now is just that first building 93, plus pictures of the third building that we went to. But that building was cool because we didn't spend too much time inside of it because at this point I was exhausted. I was like parched. I was already ready to go to the bar and just get some water, get some beer, or whatever. And
we kept talking about that too. Yeah, I just wanted to get out of there.
That was what we were saying. Yeah, we were motivating ourselves.
I loved the building, but I just wanted to get the footage and go and drink.
Exactly. We made our way to. So we're like, let's go to the top. We made it onto the roof, real nice and easy. And it was a good view and everything. A
couple of friends along the way. Met a couple pigeons.
Oh yeah,
defensive pigeons.
I think we have pictures.
I know I have at least a couple photographs.
It looks like that one pigeon was trying to lay an egg, and it was just because like we were 2 feet away from it, and it was sitting there not flying away, and we were like, "What's up, buddy? Are you okay? Are you alright?" But then we looked at the picture, and it looked like there was like either its asshole was covered in poop, or it was trying to lay an egg.
Or something was coming out. It was protruding.
It was something that was coming out. I think it might have been laying eggs, to be honest.
I felt like I could have reached out and just grabbed it.
Just held it.
I wouldn't want to, but
no.
I feel like I totally could have.
Yeah, we just wanted to leave it alone. Yeah, we had our fun, but we went onto the roof, bunch of empty beer bottles up there, and we thought it would be a perfect place to just chill out one night. Oh, look at that! The colors on this are so nice. I love this little wheel,
so much.
And it just keeps going. That thing will go for minutes and minutes and minutes.
It must have so many gears on the inside because it just keeps on spinning.
This is the big room, like the top floor that Nate climbed the ladder in. I don't know if I get a good shot of the ladder in here. I might just put one in later. But yeah, it was a real cruddy and dark. All that crud, other than the boards, was insulation, and if you step in that, you will fall right through to the next floor.
There were parts where you could actually see down to the next floor.
Yeah, that was the ladder right there on the right that he climbed. He climbed all the way up that, and then there's like a second side of the ladder. That didn't even do its justice. It's so much bigger than what it just seemed.
Yeah, it was a pretty tall ladder.
Yeah, this is when we were actually on top, like outside on that like little railing, and like I'm looking down, looking around.
Those are great shots. I loved the top of this building.
Yeah, look at that mist, that fog. Like
the wind was perfect too, because it had there was a little breeze, but it wasn't so much where you're getting freaked out that you're gonna fly off of the freaking thing.
Yeah. But
it was enough where you could actually get
that's
up there.
the curved part that I was sitting on, just above this, right to the right now.
And so we can of course toss a picture of.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's Nate. There's the vent. I was actually thinking about going inside the vent that's like right there in the middle, like the left of the screen where Nate's head was, but probably a bad idea because I always thought of like the spy movies where they crawl through the vent and then it falls.
Fall through.
I was thinking like that would absolutely happen. I don't know where.
And of course, you would fall through while someone's getting interrogated.
And this is actually like the end shot. I just like put a little thing in there. We can keep recording if you want. We gotta talk about the bar. I'll just put more footage in. I won't even know the difference. So that's over. So we're not watching the footage anymore. But let's talk about the bar. Let's talk about leaving the third building.
And the tunnels.
And the tunnels. Yeah, let's talk about the tunnels first. Because that leads perfectly into the bar.
It does, in fact. I mean, finding the tunnels was a trick of itself because we explored top to bottom. Well, first floor to the top in the second building there, third technically, and then went down to the basement, and it just goes down,
basement,
down,
basement,
and down. Yeah. Like there's no hallways. It's just stairway after stairway for like 4 levels. It seemed like at least 3, maybe 4 staircases.
Yeah.
And then we come to this putrid place. Just freaking, you step it seemed like a swamp of cement. It was like, I can't even describe it. Just squishy, watery, dripping. The smell, even with my respirator on, you could just smell like the musty chemicals in the air. So it was a pretty nasty place, to be honest. And I could see why that one group said they don't go down there. But we explored. We definitely did it justice, or tried to.
And the way I remember describing it, it was like 1,000 tons of newspaper just soaked in water for a year, and like that's what the ground felt like.
I remember you saying that.
It was
exactly.
disgusting. If you chew a piece of gum for too long, it turns into newspaper. That's what we were stepping
It was
on.
like solid, but you sink it. It was gross.
But then we ended up finding the tunnels, and we went down some of them, and then they led to like these little ladders and stuff. We kind of explored whatever. But then we found the actual real narrow tunnels that just had big pipes going all the way through. Like it was just a big straight shot. It was how tall do you think those tunnels were? Like they were like, were we able to walk comfortably?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I only had a couple inches of space, probably like 6.5 feet. Maybe.
So they're like 6'6" by how wide do you think it was, including the pipe?
Width-wise, not much. I mean,
width-wise, maybe 4 feet.
I would say 4 is an
and then
accurate
2
guess.
of those feet were covered by pipes.
You couldn't walk.
So we really had like a 2 by 6.5.
I think that's accurate because it was all pipes and stuff.
Yeah,
they were maintenance walkways. They definitely weren't meant for constant pedestrian travel.
Yeah,
but just for maintenance workers, it seemed like getting from building to building real quickly.
They had it was like once in a while it'd be uphill, sometimes it'd be downhill.
Probably for drainage.
Yeah, and they had like a few manholes too. Like
along the way. We definitely. I know I have a clip on my camera actually, just a DSLR of one of the manholes there. It was. It's pretty weird.
We'll play that clip right now.
Ow. I was watching the camera.
Well,
it's a fucking manhole, dude. That's crazy.
Are we under the town?
Yeah. Oh, under something. What if that's a road?
No. No.
Dude, I'm about to...
Can we lift it?
Let me pull out my phone. I'm gonna start...
Alright, welcome back. You just watched that clip. But, yeah, so...
Continuing on, what do you think we walked, like, a little more than a quarter mile?
I would say a quarter mile.
That's
accurate. It turned left and then right. And...
maybe left again. There were a couple turns.
Were there a few?
It was a labyrinth, like we said earlier.
It was a labyrinth, but we didn't see any other passageways. It was just the one path, but it kept turning up the right.
We didn't see any passageways, but we did in fact see pedestrians.
Yes.
Which brings us to our next point.
Which was horrifying.
As we're walking, we're just going along. We have our flashlights. Camera, Trevor's is dead. Mine's still working for photographs. And we get to what we think is the end of this long tunnel. And there's just a bunch of metal kind of garbled up, all welded together at the end of it. And then Trevor turns to me as we hear this low sound. It was like, dude. Hopefully the mic even picks it up. Just a little tiny sound. And I remember we both put our flashlights down, and Trevor was like, "Was that you?" Dude, that was a scary moment because I knew it wasn't me. I screw with you a lot, you screw with me a lot, but I knew that wasn't me.
I heard a yo. Yo. Just like that, and I was like, "Dude, I was like, nah, it was you." But then you were like, "No, seriously."
Yeah. And at that moment, we looked forward, and the first thing I saw was a little red light. It was a little red LED light, tiny, and then instantly a flashlight. But it wasn't pointing at us. It was just like at the ground. And so of course I'm like, oh, what's up? Just thinking it's another couple of explorers. And they respond. Did they even respond?
They said something.
It was quiet. It was like, mumbled.
What are you doing? Like, are you coming through?
Right. Are you coming through? And I feel like I didn't even understand that because I remember asking at some point, what building's over there? I was like, what buildings you come from? And they're like, oh, the building over here.
You know,
just
they didn't specify.
It wasn't something that didn't seem right. We both have talked about this.
Yes.
We did not get a very good vibe from them.
Even when we were there, we looked at each other, and the first thing I said was like, "Dude, let's turn around."
Split.
There was just something about those two guys. It didn't feel right because the exit to the tunnel was totally welded off except for like a little crawl space. Which is when they said, he's like, "Oh, there's a crawl space there." He's like, "Are you coming through?"
Yeah,
and we were just like, "No."
How do strangers ask us, "Are you coming through?" You know, that was just a little weird to say.
So I started pointing out things on the ground. Like I saw a respirator, I saw like knee pads for like football, and then you said,
I remember saying it specifically because it was that flight or fight response. I was like, "Oh look, dude, there's a knife here." You know, so I reach over, just acting like I found a knife, and I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, it's huge! It's like a fucking machete."
Yeah.
So I just bend up, pretending I'm holding something,
Exactly.
and I remember just looking at Trevor and giving the head nod to the right, and
we walked fast.
That was it. We
And
just started booking.
And they shined the flashlight at us as we were walking away.
We couldn't have been 50 yards away, and I looked behind just to see, you know, I hope they're not following us, and the flashlight is shining down the tunnel at us. Only thing I can think is, holy shit, they crawled through and they're chasing us.
Yeah.
So I told Trevor, you know, they're right behind us, dude.
So I was in front at this point, and it was behind me, and I was just kind of speed walking. I was just like going down this as fast as I could, and we made it out of that like quarter mile of whatever, you know, the tunnels, and I just told you about this today. Nate ended up in front of me. He went to the main room, and I turned around with my flashlight and shined it through the tunnel, and I could have sworn to God there was a person standing there. But I looked at it for a second, and it turned out to just be like a water stain or like a pipe behind a couple railings. But like when I saw that, my heart completely dropped. I was about to scream and run, but once I just needed like another half a second to process what it actually was, and then I was like, "Ooh, okay."
That would have been the end of it. If you would have turned around and been like, "Holy shit, someo's behind you," I don't know.
Scream and run. You both would scream and run.
Looking, dude. I wouldn't have even looked. Just start running.
Oh my god! But then as soon as we got out of that was when we left the building. But we got lost because we didn't know how we entered it.
We were a little bit frazzled. It took us a good 5 or 10 minutes because we went up a level too much. I think. We went back down.
Yeah.
Took us a minute.
I'm kind of wondering something about the tunnel. Like when the crawl through, is it like kind of like, is there only enough room for one person to go at a time?
Yeah, you'd have to get down onto your knees and crawl.
Okay, so then those guys were probably just on their way out, you know, and we're saying, wait, do you want to come through before we go out, or just take turns?
No, because they said they came from that building though. They didn't come from where we were.
Yeah.
At least what it sounded like, because I was like, "What building did you come from?" Then he's like, "The building over here." Real sketchy,
Where they
of
were.
course.
Yeah. Like what we actually were thinking, we looked it up later on, like the next day. They could have been undercover cops.
Possibly, but it seems unlikely because it's in the tunnels. It's late and shit. But what really confuses me is what that red LED was that I mentioned. I feel like it was either a night vision camera or night vision, which aren't all that expensive. You know, it seems to the consumer it's like no way, but it's a couple $100s. Like they're not all that much. So possible. I don't know what else it was because there were two individuals. I could see their silhouettes, but one flashlight and then an LED. There's no way that guy's just walking around in the dark, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Regardless, it very well could have been. They might have just been waiting for the passage to clear and kind of like, so are you coming through?
Yeah.
It's a good point. Good point, Joe.
But yeah, we ended up finding our way out of that place.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun being chased, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
a lot more something.
The adrenaline going.
It's a lot more something. So then we got out of that building and it was dark. So our exploring was over and we were ready to retreat to the bar.
Which we had so discovered half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago.
Right before we went to that building. And dude, let me tell you, best bar experience ever. It was my first bar experience ever, actually. I've been drunk plenty of times. I've been in bars, but I've never actually drank in a bar.
Especially not legally.
Yeah, not legally. I had just turned 21, like, 3 days earlier, 4 days earlier? Something like that.
Sounds about right.
About a week, I would say. What was it, like the 16th?
I think it was the 15th.
15th, so 4 days prior. Just turned 21. And it was called Shanahan's Bar. And it was phenomenal.
Absolutely phenomenal. Only been to a handful of bars, but I mean, by far, right off the bat, we both agreed and told many people already, best wings.
Best wings.
Best chicken wings you will ever
Best chicken.
taste.
But it was a little local bar, like a small town kind of thing, you know, like just a couple locals. Everyone knows the bartender kind of deal. And we were just strangers, tourists, you know. but not the typical New York City tourists who go to Times Square and whatever. We went to this weird fucking abandoned place.
Which, I mean, going into the story more, we didn't even know what we were getting into on this bar. After we started talking with them, well, I mean, walking into the place, just to explain, so you know the environment that we were entering. There's only 2 other guys at the bar, firefighters, just so you have an idea, and the bartender, and then there's a couple guys in the back or whatever. So it's real low key, nice vibe coming from it. Mm-hmm. But we order our beers. After talking to the bartender for a little bit, we find out he is the only private property on the entire area where the psychiatric center is, and he's been there since the beginning.
Yep.
In fact, I don't know how you even want to enter into this.
From the early 1900s, that bar had been around. He might have bought it out because he's how old did you say he's, like in his late 50s?
Yeah, I feel like it was maybe his dad or something.
Maybe his dad owned it.
It seemed like generations. I doubt they changed names.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a generational kind of thing. So he was telling us is like, okay, he said, you got these cameras or something, are you shooting these buildings? And we said, yeah, we are, and we just came from them. And I was like, we just came out of the tunnels, and he was like, oh, well, if you would have fucking told me that, I would have fucking told you to get the fuck out. He, like, those words, like, I don't mean to throw the F-bomb around a lot, but he said that. Because he was like, oh, you're probably covered in asbestos. And then Nate was like, oh, no, we changed our clothes, which we absolutely did not.
Did not at all, honestly.
We just wanted to keep...
We had just walked out 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly. But he was really cool. He had so much knowledge about the place. Yeah. He told us, my favorite part of that entire conversation was that the tunnels led right under the bar. And all of the patients and employees of these psychiatric places used to use the tunnels into the bar, even during Prohibition era.
It was a speakeasy.
This bar was a speakeasy.
It's amazing.
Yeah. That's the coolest thing.
What a great fact to learn. And later on, I actually asked him. I was like, "So is the tunnel still open?" Just spitballing. Of course, it's been bricked up, but
yeah,
that would be amazing. I would love to find more info, especially if we could find the original owner or somebody that used to work there back when it was open. But very cool place. We got a lot of information from not only the owner but some of the locals there as well. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of like that background info that you can't find from anybody except the primary source, which was them.
Yeah, exactly. It was so fun. It was so cool.
Yeah, it was a great ending to the night. We got a little more info. We got, to chill out, drink a couple beers, eat some amazing chicken wings.
Yep. And have conversations with the locals about stuff that they've seen their entire life. The way one of the 2 guys that were sitting at the end of the bar, the firefighters, one of them knew everything about it. He was telling us about the hospital, which we didn't even explore. It has like a morgue down in the basement. It has electric chairs. We didn't get to see any of that. We were going to do it the next day, but then business things happened with your job, and then we couldn't do it.
Unfortunately, this is definitely a location I will go back to with that many buildings. We will be back, but for now, we did what we could.
Yep. So that's really it for what
we had. I mean, we had conversations with the locals, but we didn't find out more than we found out from the bartender.
Exactly.
We did encounter one guy that actually, he's filmed there before. He's gone into some kind of film production, so the bartender was saying.
He was in and out of the bar in like a minute, though. We didn't have a chance to talk to him. I thought about that. Like, it would have been really cool to talk to that guy.
But who knows? Maybe he'll come across this podcast for all we know.
Maybe. But that's really it. We actually just headed back to the hotel, played poker, got more drunk, and then went to bed. Woke up at we had 5 hours of sleep, went to bed, woke up in the morning, and worked. That's about it.
We had a great exploration, though. I mean, I hope we can detail out a few more things, especially with photographs of that third building, because that was pretty interesting as well.
Yep.
And, we'll do our best to try to outline the entire journey.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I think that just about does it for this one.
Absolutely.
We'll be back on another, episode. We'll go somewhere else and we'll record and we'll release these, and you'll be able to sit and enjoy and watch our footage and listen to our voices more.
Yeah, hopefully it helps you feel like you're with us when we're doing our adventures.
Yeah. And if you've been to these places, that we ever go to, talk about it, comment, let us know all the cool stuff that we might have missed, or all the cool places that we should go next time we're in town, because we travel a lot, actually, surprisingly, for now. We travel more now than we ever have in our life. So
especially if it's in New York State, we've been there.
Yeah.
We've been through there or near there, so we want to explore there as well. We just don't know where anything is.
Exactly.
That's the name of the game. Finding your exploration place is part of the challenge.
Exactly. So I'll just leave up our information up on the screen here. Other websites you can go to, Instagram, and maybe Twitter.
Yeah, we might get into it. I mean, if you're listening to this, then you're one of the first to be listening to us.
Exactly.
So.
And you probably found us through Instagram. But anyway, yeah. So just keep on exploring. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell us about your crazy adventures and stuff. And yeah, we just want to be in the loop. We just want to hang out with you guys and chit chat about these places because it's something that we've done for years.
Exactly. It's nothing more than a hobby that we're just trying to expand a bit.
Yeah.
Let other people know that it's not all vandals out there. There's plenty of people that like learning the history behind places. So
Yeah.
let us know about your experiences as well. Feel free to post anything you want to. We'll definitely respond. No doubt about that.
Absolutely. So it's a wrap. I'm Trevor.
I'm Nate.
And this was Tracked. I think that's about as good as Yanni's gonna get.
Yeah.
And cut. See ya.
Okay, in my head I keep thinking like, dude, there's got to be something we could do, but I still don't know what.
It's good.
We should listen to a few others, just like see what their endings.
They end randomly. YouTube is all about abrupt endings.
Fair enough.
Hey, kitty.